Greetings, creatures, cadavers, and curious mortals, and welcome to Radio Transylvania. Here we discuss spooky songs, eerie tunes, and things that go bump in the night. To the dismay of those of us who love wearing black, it's summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. But there's no need to let the heat get you down. You can always grab your board and ride some monster waves while listening to horror, surf, rock. I'm going to be honest with you, I was completely unaware that this subgenre was a thing until very recently. I don't know how I missed it, because I've been actively searching for Halloween music for years now, but better late than never, right? But how exactly did such a specific category become a thriving culture with a wide range of bands dedicated to it? To understand that, we need to take a trip back in time. Surf music sprang up out of the surf culture in Southern California during the late 1950s and hit its peak popularity in the early 60s. Dick Dale is credited with starting the movement with his instrumental guitar pieces. Bands like the Beach Boys used the common characteristics of the style and added lyrics. Surf music's popularity died down after a bit, but it saw a revival of interest in the 1980s. Many of the bands that formed in this decade had themes beyond just surf, dividing the genre into categories like surf punk, space surf, and, relevant to us, horror surf. While Monsters and the Beach don't necessarily seem like a perfect fit, it makes more sense if you think of it as two pieces of nostalgia coming together, since the height of surf culture overlapped with the golden age of monster movies. And once a few bands put the two together, the association is out there, and it's easy to see how other musicians saw the promise of this concept and decided to follow suit. All of which led to our first song, The Creature Stole My Surfboard, written by Chris Palmerini, Kevin Clement, and John Kullberg, and originally performed by the Dead Elvi. The group formed in 1993. Clement was running a monster convention called Chiller Theater and had recently moved the event to a larger venue. Having a free ballroom, he wanted to put on a costume ball and asked his friend Chris Palmerini to help him put a band together that could perform during the party. The name for the group came from the idea that all of the members looked like Elvis Presley during different stages in his life, Elvi being a plural of Elvis in the same vein as cacti and octopi. The Creature Stole My Surfboard was the first song that the band wrote. According to an interview with Clement on the blog Music, Monsters, and Muscles, the first draft was written in about 20 minutes one night by Clement and Palmerini, and later edited and refined by John Kullberg. In 1998, the song was featured on the album Halloween Hootenanny, which was produced by Rob Zombie. This compilation features several horror surf and psychobilly bands, and has intro and outro tracks performed by Zachary. The lyrics of The Creature Stole My Surfboard weave a narrative that is exactly what the title describes. It does what it says on the tin. The singer is surfing, and the creature swims up, knocks him off his surfboard, and surfs away from the scene of the crime.
He kept swatting at my feet and knocked me off my board. When I surfaced, he was hanging dead, headed for the shore.
The chorus mostly consists of the title phrase, repeated with some slight variations.
Yeah, the creature stole my surfboard. Hey, the creature stole my surfboard.
While repetitive and not overly complicated, I really like the lyrics. The verses paint a clear picture of a slimy, seaweed-covered creature emerging from the depths, which makes it all the more amusing when you get to picture this same creature hanging 10 and riding the waves. The instrumentals are undeniably surf rock and have a twinge of creepiness to them as well. The main guitar riff is catchy and has a sense of foreboding, which carries the song along nicely and maintains a sense of suspense throughout. In 2006, the group released an animated music video to go along with the song. Since it's 3D animation from the early 2000s, it largely reminds me of bowling alley cartoons. The only female representation in the video is, unsurprisingly, grossly objectifying, which I don't love. The titular creature looks okay, but they don't really do a lot with it. The star of the show here is undoubtedly the band itself, represented by skeletons in wigs. These hold up a lot better than the fleshy characters, and they remind me of audio animatronics, and that's a compliment because I love audio animatronics. If you want to see this video and judge it for yourself, you can check out the page for this episode on radiotransylvania.com or find the playlist for this episode on our YouTube channel. But the early 2000s were more than just the childhood years of 3D animation. They were also the peak years for the duo that created our next song, Halloween Surfboard, written and originally performed by Nathan Holt and Gavin Riley, aka Rowan and Hastings. Most people familiar with this song know it from the sitcom Superstore. Season 4, Episode 4, Costume Competition, features a running gag where the song is playing over and over in the store, driving one of the characters deeper and deeper into madness throughout the course of the day.
This is like the 5th time they've played this song today.
It doesn't even make sense. Dracula was putting on moontan lotion. Why is the Dracula at the beach? Halloween surfboard, Halloween surfboard. It's just stupid.
Please hold.
Going in, I had assumed that the song was written for the episode, and I even found several reviews and articles that called the song a Superstore original. But after doing some digging, I discovered that the song has been around for much longer than the show. So, if it wasn't written for Superstore, where did it come from? Rowan and Hastings have described themselves over the years as a madcap underground act, Philadelphia's notorious PowerPoint rap duo, and Together, because we're afraid to be alone. Basically, the duo performed at parties and clubs in the Philadelphia area during the early 2000s, with music that's a mix of beats created on a 2004 MacBook and lyrics that, quote, only a strange and wonderful childhood friendship could produce, unquote. Okay, great. But how did Halloween Surfboard start out in the Philly underground and end up on an NBC show 12 years later? I had to do a bit of internet sleuthing to get to the bottom of this, but the link seems to be Justin Shanes, who wrote this Halloween episode of Superstore. Nathan Holt and Shanes follow each other on Twitter, and I even found comments the two wrote on each other's YouTube videos that date back to 2007. So, while I haven't been able to find any interviews where Shanes discusses why he chose the song, I think I can piece together that he was familiar with it from back in the day. Maybe Halloween Surfboard was the inspiration for this plotline, or maybe it came to his mind when he, or someone else in the writer's room, got the idea for a repetitive Halloween song getting on an employee's nerves. Either way, the song made it in, exposing it to a much wider audience. A few days before the episode aired, Nate Holt released the Rowan and Hastings album on his Bandcamp page and announced that all proceeds from sales would go toward transporting low-income seniors to the polls. This meant that anyone who had found the song through Superstore could now download the full version easily, and support a good cause at the same time. While I hesitate to call this song surf rock, it's certainly pulling some inspiration from the genre, though it's more of a parody than an homage. It's clearly an over-the-top version of the pretty much the Monster Mash subgenre of Halloween music, which is its own whole thing, with a bit of surf rock thrown in. Like Creature, the song has a very repetitive chorus. While I do enjoy this song, unironically, I'm not surprised that so many people assumed it was written specifically to be an annoying song in a comedy show.
It was a Halloween surfboard. It was a Halloween surfboard.
In between the two choruses is a single verse, which describes a mishmash of monsters doing beach things. Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman are surfing and gathering around a bonfire and just generally having a night full of fun and fright.
Dracula surfing on a Halloween night. Frankenstein and Wolfman were his friends. The three of them were on surfboards hanging 10.
The lyrics have a disjointed quality to them. Some because they're phrased oddly, and others because they just kind of come out of nowhere.
Gnarly dude is what the Wolfman said. The mummy's not allowed to get his bandages wet.
Clearly this is intentional, poking fun at novelty Halloween songs and just kind of having some stream of consciousness fun with the concept. My favorite thing in this song, which is touched on in passing and not connected to the rest of anything, is that line about the mummy not being allowed to get his bandages wet. It's a throwaway gag, but there's so much to think about if you unpack it. Why did the mummy come to the beach party? Does he feel left out? He's not mentioned anywhere else in the song. Not allowed to get his bandages wet. Who's allowing him? Does he have a doctor? Or a guardian of some kind? And while we're overanalyzing things, Is Halloween Surfboard a sequel to The Creature Stole My Surfboard? Think about it. Perhaps the creature went out of his way to steal a surfboard specifically because it knew that the other monsters were planning a surfin' party on Halloween night. The reason that the song is about a Halloween surfboard, singular, not plural, could be because they only have one surfboard between them. Surf shops are only open during the day, and thus the only board that they have is contraband acquired from the creature. Then again, maybe I just put too much thought into these two songs at the same time, and the human brain likes to form connections between things. Who's to say? I'm just here to teach the controversy. Whether they share a cinematic universe or not, these are both very fun songs about surfing monsters. And while one might have more, widespread appeal than the other, I would say that they are both groovy additions to your Halloween playlist. I couldn't find any covers of either song, but if you would like to change that, please send me the results. And that's all I have for you tonight. You can find links to full versions of the songs discussed here and in all of our episodes at either radiotransylvania.com or on our YouTube channel. And if you want to send a comment, question, or Halloween song, please go ahead and email radiotransylvaniapodcast@gmail.com. This episode was written, recorded, and edited by Sheila O'Neill. Our logo artwork is by Mark Patricio, and our intro and outro music are by Nico McAllis, with several assets from Production Crate. Subscribe and follow us on social media for more spooky content all year long. Hang 10, dudes, and good night.